Welcome to another episode of my podcast that's fun with me. Today we're going to be talking about Meghan Markle, and I would say a lot of people hate Meghan Markle. I discovered Meghan when she was a main lead in Suits, and I really loved the series. I enjoyed the episodes, and honestly, I mean, devil's advocate, I really like her. I didn't have anything bad to say about her acting, because right now people are literally saying that she was the worst, she wasn't talented, she couldn't perform. Honestly, I would disagree, at least at this part, because I think that she was great. I mean, I didn't have any problem with her acting or whatever, but I'm not a professional. As just a person who was watching from afar, she was pretty talented, in my opinion, and she's still pretty talented. I mean, like, she pulled off this marriage with Harry, who is still kind of like a prince of United Kingdom. That is the main reason why, like, you have to be pretty talented to do that, in my opinion. But okay, let's get started with really simple bio information. Meghan was born in California, Los Angeles, August 4th, 1981, and right from the badge, I mean, her dad, he was a director of lighting, like a lighting director on set of Married with Kids, and her mom, she was a clinical therapist. She was from an average family. She wasn't bullied. That is the main reason why I guess she had pretty much normal childhood, and I guess she wouldn't be bullied because she actually was born in Los Angeles in California, and that was the main reason why people, like, they probably didn't have that much problem in schools. It's just not that she was from a far village where people or kids might have been suffering from bullying. But I do think that California is not going to give you any like reassurance that you're not going to be bullied. Like, different schools, different education, different people, and different stories. So let's just move forward with the story. I would say that her parents, they divorced, but both of the parents, they kept in touch with Meghan, and they both participated in her childhood. So she didn't have, I would say, like, any sort of drama. That is the main reason why she might have been a little bit spoiled, and probably she is still a little bit spoiled. That is the main reason why we see the entire, I guess, scene of the spoiled kid working with someone's money and pretending to be a princess, like, right now, straight into the faces. But let's move to her childhood. I would say that she is pretty smart, and she has quite an education background. I mean, she had to go to a Catholic church, and then she swapped to a little bit different one. Later, she went to Northern University, Illinois in 1999, and she actually graduated with 2 majors, theater and international relations, which is pretty interesting because when she was junior year, she had a chance to have an internship in the embassy of the United States that was located in, Argentina. And she had this internship for 6 weeks. And then later, when she was still studying, I guess it's more like related to international relations, she had a chance to go to Spain, Madrid for 3 months and have another internship. That is the main reason why I think it's really cool. And she is pretty educated. So let me remind you guys, she's not stupid. She's not just like working with her face and that's it. I mean, she's pretty educated, and she was a hard worker at the same time. While she was, getting 2 majors at once, in 2002, if I'm mistaken, she landed her first role, not a huge one. She acted as Jill in the General Hospital series, and I guess it wasn't really a big role, but still had something to do with acting career. And then while she was still doing some castings, or like attending some castings, she had to work for a small business that was called Paper Source. So she worked for Paper Source. That was her income. And by the way, around 13, she actually participated in volunteer work, and at the same time she worked as, I don't know, like, server in the frozen yogurt 10 hours a week. I mean, you can't say that she was that spoiled brat that had everything on her plates. I mean, she did actually have to work her way through. We can give it to Meghan Markle. And I would say it's really important to mention that a lot of the stuff that she's been through, I mean, in her career and in some international relations, I don't really know why she didn't pursue this job. I mean, because she wants to be famous, and that is the main idea behind this whole situation that is going on. On some tapes that were from, I guess, her childhood and probably her dad provided, she was all about queens and princes. She was, I mean, crazy about royal family. And that is the reason why I guess people just don't really buy the lies she's saying and spreading when she says, I didn't know who Harry was up until the point when we got together. I mean, I knew that there was some sort of like royal family, but I didn't know anything about that. And you would say probably I actually believed her at first. And then when people started digging deeper and finding some facts about Meghan Markle, they realized that she wasn't that much of a humble actress that didn't even know who Harry was. Let's carry on with her accomplishments. I'd say aside from acting career, she still was volunteering a lot. And when she was around 10 years old, or maybe even younger, when she was at school, basically, she saw the commercial of Procter & Gamble where they were talking about women. Let me just, it's in quote. Women all over America are fighting greasy pots and pans. And she found it really offensive that commercial specified women. And that was the main reason why she wrote a couple of letters to Hillary Clinton and some fancy lawyer. And they really helped to change this commercial. And it was people all over America are fighting greasy pots and pans. You can actually see that she was advocate for women. But at the same time, I'd say that that was a smart choice. And it was really nice of her to point this out. I mean, yeah, men can wash pants and fight greasy pants as well, not only women. That was sexist and it was not cool. Later, I guess she still carried on with her job going to Africa and helping people, and I have nothing against it. I guess that's a great thing to do. But if she was so crazy about, I guess, royal family, I think that I can see where she was going with this, because especially in the future when Harry was probably studying Meghan at some point because she was more or less famous and you could find some information about her, you know, finding out some information that she was a volunteer, that she was caring for people, and especially she was passionate about Africa, and his mom was passionate about Africa, and he is still passionate about Africa. I guess that actually connected some leads, and that was the main reason why, I guess, Meghan Markle planted the small seeds. I mean, she's really clever, don't get me wrong, it's a good, really good quality, but I mean, she started small, and she started when she was basically a teenager. I think that maybe when she was a kid, that was more like a genuine thought behind all this volunteer job, because I think that maybe she tried to see herself as princess and see herself as royal family and to help people, genuinely help people, because they were people that she wanted to be like, which I think it's a great thing. I mean, that they set a great example, and I really like the fact that it influenced someone's life to be the same person. But let's talk about later years of Meghan Markle. In 2004, she met a talent agent, producer of her mistake, and her future husband, and they actually got married in 2010. They had a big wedding with 200 guests, if I'm mistaken. And later in 2012, they got through divorce. I mean, there were rumors behind the scenes that he was very aggressive, and that happened with like a DV, but I don't really know, guys. I don't really want to go into this area. So then she actually got into some new relationship with a Canadian chef who is Corey, and they'd been dating for 2 years. Then she started dating Harry, and they were introduced through a mutual friend. But what really got me thinking, that at first when I was watching some of the interviews, old interviews, she was like, oh my God, I didn't know who he was, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, and we were introduced. But later we found out through some sources, and even people, they came forward, and to be exact, 7 people came forward that knew Meghan Markle, and they said that actually she was looking for a rich guy, and she was asking for some connections, and she was asking if someone knew Harry and could introduce her to him. And yeah, she found this person. And she was specifically interested in rich men in the United Kingdom. I guess maybe she was trying to get her way to Harry initially, because if she started, you know, her connections with someone rich and powerful, and especially with a title, they would probably know Harry. That was the main reason, I guess, why she started asking about him, or not him in particular, but like someone rich. Okay, so now we're moving to the entire story, that at first they started dating. They've been dating for 16 months before he proposed, and they had this engagement in 2017, if I'm mistaken, November 2017, and they got married May 2018. And I remember watching their wedding. It was really beautiful. But from the beginning, from the start, I guess they started the whole idea with copying his mom, Diana. And Meghan mentioned numerous times in several interviews that she was actually not familiar with the royal family. But a lot of people mentioned that in her blog, she was talking about William's and Kate's wedding. And then later she was talking about Diana, and she was a huge fan of Diana. That is the main reason, I guess, while she was literally lying in front of cameras, in front of everyone, I guess the main idea here that she still knew that she wasn't that much popular person. I mean, and people would probably care about something she said years ago, and people even wouldn't have some footage of her interviews, you know, back in the day. And of course, she did not expect her own family to expose her childhood videos where she was crazy about royal family. That was the main reason why I guess she just didn't expect this to blow up in her face. And Harry, he was very interested in Meghan because she acted as a kid. She acted as this fun and cool person, and he was always, let's say, a black sheep in his family, as he thinks, because he always knew that he's not going to be the next prince, he's not going to be the next king it's going to be always William. And when William got married and he had Kate, and they actually have kids, so their kids, they're going to be royal, and their kids, they're going to be, next prince, princess, and next royals. That is the main reason, I guess, why he always had this idea that he was ginger, he was not as everyone, and he was the smallest in the family, and everyone treated him in a little bit different way, not as they treated William, because William meant to be the next king of United Kingdom, and is still the next king of United Kingdom. And I'd say it's really hard, but Harry, he does have some problems. I guess he was not processing his mother's loss as he should have processed this loss, and he had to act as an adult. He didn't have time to grieve. And in my opinion, like the next day or in 2 or 3 days, he had to go public and see how people were mourning his mom, but he didn't have a chance to do this by himself. And I remember being a teenager, or maybe around like 10 years old, I remember that Harry, he went crazy with alcohol, addictions, partying, dating girls. That was the main reason why I guess this was his way to process his feelings, because he didn't know how to make them go away. He didn't have mom. He was always constantly in front of cameras, in front of other people, and he had to perform duties, but he knew that it was all in vain because he's not going to be the next king. He was ginger, and I guess probably a lot of people pointing this out, that it was a huge deal for him that he was the only ginger person in their family, and he felt like a black sheep, though I don't really know what was wrong with this. And he always thought that William was more attractive, and he wasn't. William got married pretty early, and he didn't. That was the main reason, I guess, why he still has a lot of insecurities. And now we see Meghan Markle. She gets into this game. She enters this game and she's like, oh my God, I'm so well-established actress in the United States. I have busy schedule. This series, they were put on to the next season. And, I have certain obligations. I have my blog. I love traveling. And she was probably selling herself to Harry, which I have no problem with. Honestly, a lot of people are criticizing her for this action, but as a person who would love to get know with someone they had a crush on for quite a long period of time, I assume, they would probably just hype them up and they try to sell them to this person. Not in a way like really sell, but just, look at me. I'm not that bad. And she was actually thinking of Harry being the actual prince of United Kingdom. So of course she wanted to hype herself to his level, so he wouldn't think that she's a petty girl that just wanting only his attention, though it might have been true, but still, she didn't really want to look this way. From my personal point of view, guys, by the way, everything that I say in this podcast or any of my podcasts, it's my opinion only. It's for entertaining purposes, and I have a disclaimer right at the beginning of my podcast, but in case you're listening, you're not watching, it's actually true that this is just my personal opinion. So now we can see that this couple is going stronger and stronger, and they're building their connection based on being kids, because he didn't have this chance to be a kid when he was a kid. And now he met this woman who can give you the sense of celebration and being rebellious a little bit and have fun with her. But at the same time, she was always into his mom in a way that she was trying to look like her, to act like her. And in a lot of interviews and doc-series, he was actually talking that Meghan reminds him of his mom. And I don't really have anything against it, but it's more like an act. Diana, she wouldn't try to perform, and she had her great style. People are still talking about Diana's style. People are still talking about her dresses and the way she was presenting herself in public. That is the main reason why she was on a front page, as someone who took a spotlight. And Harry, he actually has an idea that his mom was probably in this car accident because royal family felt threatened. I'm extending here. I don't really know if it's true or not, but I guess that's in a thought, or at least that's something that Meghan probably told him from her perspective. Then she was actually pointing out that he was ginger and he felt like a black sheep. And then when she came to United Kingdom, she was mixed race and she felt out of loop because apparently Brits didn't really like Meghan because she was half black. And was it a thing? Another great point, I guess, is that whenever he talked about his mom, he mentioned once or twice that Meghan always was on the cover, and royal family felt threatened again that Meghan is going to take a spotlight. That was the main reason why they moved to United States. But was it the reason why she was at a spotlight? Was it the real reason why she was actually on the cover because she was that cool? Most of the time she was on the cover because media was criticizing Meghan for dressing the wrong way. And they actually mentioned this later, that she was bullied. But then at the same time, she's like, oh my God, I have nothing to do to be on the cover. We have to go to United States because we're going to feel safer. And what happens next? When they go to the United States to feel safer, they're still acting like they need a security. And Harry is actually saying that my wife doesn't feel safe. She doesn't feel like she can walk around. And that is the main reason why he demanded his right to get a security from royals. And they said, no. You decided to leave United Kingdom. You decided that you want to have nothing to do with us. You decided that you're going to tarnish the reputation of royal family in the United States, going from one show to another show, working with different newspapers, spreading some rumors. Then you actually didn't want to go with our dynamic. And now you're actually saying that you need us to provide your security and funding this. Because let me just show you this. Let's set the scene. Harry, a kid, doesn't have to care about his future because he knows, though he's not going to be the next king of United Kingdom, still the funding was there. He always knew that he had the finest staff, the finest food, employees who work for him. He always had to place, stay and live. He always had this, job or charity job to attend. And whatever he wanted to do, if he wanted to go to military, if he wanted to go Africa, stay there, he knew that he could afford it. He was never a breadwinner in the sense. And none of them from royal family is kind of like a breadwinner. Of course, in some ways, yeah. Newspapers, they're paying for interviews, and Instagram, they're paying for the pages and commercials. That is the main reason why, in some ways, we can see them as breadwinners. But at the same time, a lot of this is paid from the taxes of United Kingdom. That is the main reason why, they could afford this lifestyle, and they're real royals. So when they moved to the United States, they were fine with an idea that their social media is going to bring their money and they can actually tarnish royal family's reputation and earn out of it. But the worst scenario here, and the worst part, that Meghan Markle, she loves splurging. And I think that Harry is more like on this quiet side when he kind of like doesn't need a lot, but Meghan, she went full force, especially when you watch this Netflix show with Meghan cooking and doing some, like baskets and fancy gifts to some of her guests. You think like, how much money did she actually spend on that? And it gets to the point where you think that maybe Meghan right now is a breadwinner because she tries to land some deals with Netflix and Spotify and goes to some podcasts. And at the same time, Harry, he went with his biography or some book, and then he's fighting some court for security or whatever. You know what I see? Everyone pity Harry, that he is a joke. He is kind of like a poor guy. But at the same time, from my point of view, probably Harry found Meghan and he's acting like a kid right now, a real kid. That Meghan, she took control of this entire situation. She tells him what to do, when to do, and probably she's landing all these deals. She's saying him what he has to do to get more money. And in a sense, I guess in a way, probably this is working for Harry. Because right now he's behind Meghan, and Meghan is, working this whole and orchestrating this whole things where they can live together, when they can provide for the family, and when she's at the spotlight and he has to be a little bit off. He was just not happy to be always a center of attention when he lived in the United Kingdom and when he was like this prince or whatever. And right now, finally, someone took his place, and probably he's more than happy with this. And all the media are portraying that they're miserable in their marriage, but maybe they're not. Maybe he's fine with the fact that she took control and she's doing everything and she's like rape here and everything. He probably might be happy with this whole idea, but I don't really know. I'm actually fantasizing. I do think Meghan planted a lot of seeds in his mind that she's like his mom. And that is the main reason why they might have this issue that he's not going to divorce Meghan Markle or Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, because he knows that in some way he's going to lose his mom in a way. And people are calling out Meghan Markle being a manipulator and a narcissist. I kind of agree that she's a narcissist, and I do think she's a narcissist. But at the same time, manipulator, yeah, again, she studied the family and everyone knows that she did so. But probably Harry's fine with this. We don't really know what's behind the scene. Guys, I'm so sorry. It's my phone. So what I'm saying here is that a lot of people are criticizing Meghan Markle for being not relatable, especially in her shows and the culinary show that she's doing right now, and sprinkle everything with edible flowers. But at the same time, does she have to be relatable? In a way, I mean, she is still a royal. We can agree or disagree. We can love it or we can hate it, but she's a royal and she does have money. Maybe they have the concept that she's going to give you a glimpse of this royal family kind of idea, what's behind the scenes, what she's cooking. I think that it's all orchestrated and probably she has numerous people cooking for her, babysitting her kids, and she's just, doing this weird act and show that she's, participating in some charity work, that she takes care of her kids, she takes care of some, I don't know, house duties and whatever, because I still remember the moment where Queen had to interfere when Markle was so demanding and aggressive toward her employees that worked for royalty, royal name, by the way, in the United Kingdom, that she had to tell Meghan that it's not okay to talk this way. That is the main reason why people said, we don't really like Meghan because she portrayed herself being this honest, not knowing about royal family and charity person, volunteer, and well-established career actress. And then we see that all of it is just a lie, or it used to be a lie, and then she probably believed in this at some point. And then it turned into a nightmare where Harry is just a shadow of this relationship, and he still probably has no idea how to get out of this relationship. And another great point that while I was watching some of the stuff about royal family and about the way they moved to United States is because Meghan, she's, again, smart. She has great education. She's not stupid. She has well connections. And when she realized that William is having a big influence on his little brother, she knew that she had to take him from this family, from this circle. And there's still a lot of people in the United Kingdom who did not like Meghan, and especially from the court. And that was the main reason why I guess she knew that they can brainwash him, and she made sure that they went to United States, where she could be the only person who could influence Harry and make him think the way she wanted him to think. I don't know who's right or who's wrong. I guess he's a grown-up. I mean, yeah, he could go to therapy. Another great point, guys. I'm just getting back and forth. But when Meghan was pregnant with their baby, she said that she could probably harm herself, but she couldn't afford therapy because the royal family was against it. Though a lot of people from the royal family, they used therapy, and it was okay for them. I guess it was another manipulation from Meghan's side that she's going to hurt herself by being pregnant. So she knew that he would act. She made him do certain things and probably move because she knew that it's going to motivate him to act. And that is the reason why, he is a grown man. I mean, if he really wanted to divorce Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, he could have done this by now, and he still can't do that. At the same time, I'd say he could go to therapy. Maybe he didn't really help him, but he's a grown man. I mean, he has to deal with some of these issues, and maybe works for him. And for Meghan Markle, yeah, smart girl, what can we say? She turned them around her own finger perfectly. I mean, you can give it to her. You can literally give it to her. Even if you hate Meghan Markle, I'm not a huge fan of Meghan Markle right now, honestly. I'm not praising her. I'm not saying she's great. But girl had her moves, and girl had her motivation from the beginning. She always wanted to be a royalty, and now she is a royalty. And it don't really matter what it took her to get there. She is there. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm not praising her, but at the same time, eventually she got what she wanted. And she made a lot of people miserable when she did that. But at the same time, I mean, she even tried to blame Harry for her problems with her dad, and he took the blame, oh my god, it's because of my family, and it's because of my royal status, and because of tabloids she had a fall out with her dad. Was it really because of Harry? Was it really because of royal family? It was because she had something to do with this situation. I mean, good for her, but not so good for the rest of royal family. Let me know your thoughts, guys. What do you think, actually? I know that a lot of people, they couldn't watch the show where she was cooking and doing the stuff. I didn't watch personally because I'm not really interested in doing this. But, there's still probably some people watching the show. Probably. I don't know. Again, let me know in the comments, or probably you can share some of your stories. I mean, this through my mail. That's fine with me, podcast@gmail.com, where you're going to be 100% anonymous. And if you really want me to share this on my podcast, I will. Love you all so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.